Well, when you get to this stage, Bill, of the season, you start to wonder about the futures of players. I can tell you the last home appearance for Robert Simpkins, that man in picture with the headgear on. And, of course, next weekend will be his last match in the Winfield Cup. He's played with South Sydney and Eastern Suburbs. It's been a marvellous career, and he's made the most first-grade appearances for the Seagulls since he came here in 1988.
Billy, tactics already having a bit of a part to play here. Brisbane have been set up in their receiving position for quite some time, and Wally Lewis held his team in a little huddle there before now progressing to the halfway line.
Referees to tonight's match is Kelvin Jeffs. I think he's only had a handful of A-grade matches.
He has, Bill, and last week he had the Penrith-Cronulla game and accumulated a mere 4-pointer in Rugby League Week, 4 out of 10. So Kelvin Jeffs will be out to improve on that performance tonight, and the referees appointments board have said that they assess referees over a package of games.
Well, there's a couple of the old Warriors on the touchline in Greg Dowling and also Gene Miles, but I'm sure they'll get a run out a little bit later tonight. They'll be having a run on Thursday night at their testimonial night. I'll tell you a bit about that a bit later. But there's the kick-off, and we're into action here at Seagulls Stadium. And this crowd are pretty much wound up here tonight, I can tell you that.
The crowd will be wound up, Bill, but so will the Seagulls. Brisbane will have to really be resolute in these early minutes of the match.
That's Trevor Gilmeister splitting out of the first tackle of Nello. He gets up over the quarter before he's put down. Tackle there was Ray Herring, who came into the side, of course, and here's the first penalty of the match.
Inside the 5 metres, Brisbane are a dangerous side if allowed to run. Seagulls endeavouring to move up very quickly. Well, Kelvin Jeffs, the referee, putting his mark on the game early. Hoff to look for touch.
While Paul Hoff looks for touch, we might cross to Tony Durkin. And Durko, I do suggest that there's a breeze behind the Seagulls team in the first half.
There is, Bill. Brilliant conditions for rugby league here tonight at the stadium. A slight chill in the air, which the players certainly will be pleased about. But that breeze behind the Gold Coast in the first half, and I'm sure that Wally Lewis will use it to their best advantage. A superb atmosphere here tonight at the stadium. It's packed. The ground record of 13,423. Certainly, if it's not broken tonight, I tell you what, they'll give it a real good shake.
That's Terry Madison just inside the quarter as he gets up to play it. Walters is the dummy half. He'll work it away to his brother, and then on it goes to Hoff. Hoff straight through the gap. He'll score a try. Stepped around them and away he went.
Lewis is down too, Bill. Hoff has scored it. He's gone straight past Wally Lewis, who was left lying on the ground on the 22-metre line. He grabbed initially for his knee, but Hoff has done it in fine style. What a great sidestep he's got. Absolutely nothing on. The pass up to Hoff, the defence in position. Lewis couldn't turn back on the inside. A Garden Gate attempted tackle. Lewis is limping back now to the in-goal area, but Paul Hoff from the head on. Let's see how much he deviates with the step. There's Lewis, falls immediately to ground and grasps for his leg. Hoff doesn't grasp for anything. He puts it down one-handed and quite foolishly in the manner in which he puts it down.
Well, they've been a long time coming for Paul Hoff. 3 tries in the last 4 games, and he made Wally Lewis look very, very ordinary. Putting it down one-handed. What a start for the Broncos.
Bit of a worry, though, the way he does that. I suggest to any of the young kids watching it, you don't do that, because he's got to reach down from a heck of a long way up too, hasn't he?
Paul Hoff there got the ball down, and that has brought a smile to the general manager's face, and that's John Rebo.
Great start for the Broncos. That's certainly something they'd be. I don't think they'd have expected to get one as early as that.
No, and of course it puts a lot of pressure now on Lewis. He would have done a lot of psyching with his team tonight to try and get them up there. He now needs to follow up that psych with action.
So it's Terry Madison looking for the 2-pointer now. The kick is away to the left. No doubt it was never going to be a chance as soon as it left his boot. So the Broncos lead here at the moment by 4 points to 0.
Great start to the Broncos. They lead by 4-0, and Langer tries to bring play up towards the halfway line. He's 11 metres short at Brisbane's end of the ground. Andrew
G certainly brings an intimidation about the Broncos defence. He was heavily involved in 2 tackles and really did force the error.
Michael Hancock, who's been in outstanding form in recent weeks, again looking for work in the centre of the ground. Now it goes away to Alan Cann, and he's taken 10 metres short of halfway. Working on the blind side with Gilmeister. Another player who's been in fantastic form in 1991. Dominating of possession there, possession by the Broncos, and they've really turned it into good stuff. Here's a tremendous run by Willie Kahn. Try number 2 for the Broncos. They lead by 8-0, and we've had just 6 minutes of the first half here at the Seagulls Stadium.
Willie Cahn's obviously been spurred on by the performances of his co-winger Michael Hancock. Very characteristic this of what Michael Hancock has been doing. Jumps one of the defenders straight through the middle of the ruck, bustling his way through, and then the pace. Lewis can't get near him. He's out in open spaces at this stage, and Willie Cahn will scoot away and put Brisbane's second try on through a very flimsy Seagulls defence.
Madison from the touchline. It will fall short, will it? It's waved away and to the left of the uprights. But the Broncos lead here at the Seagulls Stadium by 8-0.
And the tap is taken and the ball carted up by Andrew G. That's Hone. Inside Seagulls territory again by about 5 metres. So back over to Alan Cahn. Simpkins is over the top, getting it underneath his G. So Walters, which way is he going to go? Sends it away to Langer. Langer dummies. But he's going to be wrapped up there. And then coming around to get him was Bartram. He didn't fall for the Langer dummy. So now to Madison. Over the top, out of the hands of Hone. Is going to be scooped up out there by G. Tries to push away Lewis. But Morganson is going to end up with it and is put down. Final tackle. So Walters swings it away to Langer. Langer around the corner, taken there by Gilmeister. Gilmeister gets it back to Walters. Walters away to Hone. Hone now turns it back inside. Willie can't get it away, but it's going to be just short of the line.
Actually, even been just short, Bill. There'll be a changeover. I thought for a moment that he was actually held up over the line on his back there. Great build-up up the middle of the ruck. Kerrod Walters to Mark Hone. Plenty of open spaces on the blind. Does well to bring Willie Cahn back on the inside. Cahn dummies initially. Finds Walters again. The tackle was affected there in the field of play. But subsequent to that and the changeover, Gold Coast have been driven back into the in-goal area by some pretty torrid Brisbane defence, forcing a goal line dropout.
We'll wait for the ball to come back to Wally Lewis. Doesn't seem to be too much of a hurry to get it moving. With Mark Hone out wide there with the winger in support.
Plenty of open spaces on a blind side like that, and Brisbane will really capitalise if that blind side isn't plugged up.
Off up the centre, but is going to be tackled by the two men in headgear. That's Simpkins and G.
Billy, there's no better sight when this side's in full flight.
Gilmeister hasn't he made some ground tonight? Dummy half is Walters. G turns his back on Nella. Got it away to Hone. Don't know how, but he did.
Oh, he's twisted. No, he's okay, Hone. I thought he's in a little bit of trouble.
Here's Langer to Walters. Doubles around to Kevin Walters. He'll be wrapped up. Goes to ground with Rolls riding him into the ground.
Mark Hone limping back, and he's had knee trouble earlier in the year.
Langer gets it outside. Gilmeister loses it.
He knocked the ball initially and then was hit very heavily there by Ray Herring. Langer cuts one out, finds Gilmeister in trying to juggle and regain. Had his back to the defence and got hit heavily.
So the scrum to take down and Paul short of feed. 18 metres out now from the Seagulls line. That just went into the scrum. Clinton Moore. But the tackler was Gilmeister, who got out of that scrum very quickly. G. There's Gilmeister again over the top. The man in underneath is Andrew G. And having these two fellas put it on this year.
Yeah, great performances by those pair, and of course the way the game's played these days, you must have work rate in the forwards. Here's the coast.
Bartram gets it away to French. French coming up towards top. He puts a little kick in forward. Coming back over there is Willie Cahn. He'll win the race to the ball and carries it back over the dead ball line.
Promising play this from the Gold Coast. The break themselves down the left-hand side. Here's the pass up to Brett French. Doesn't he do this nicely when confronted by Paul Hoff? Chip over the top. Good cover defence here by Willie Cahn, though, as he races back to protect the Broncos try line. Had he not been there, French would have been in a position to recover.
That'll be a drop out from underneath the goal mouth. And Paul Hoff is the man to perform that duty.
In no hurry, Brisbane needing a breather.
They lead at this stage by 8 points to 0.
Taking it on his own side of halfway is Clinton Moore. Now, can the Coast come back? They were off to a disastrous start. They just showed a fair deal of flair and attack to stretch Brisbane out wide. Now G stepped off the right foot. Little gap opening up the middle of the ruck on the Brisbane side on that occasion. Bartram, who made that good clean break earlier, gives it to his captain Lewis. Lewis gave it back in field, and it was taken up by Chris Close inside the quarter line. Close plays the ball, 20 metres out. It goes to Lewis. It turned for Shaw. Shaw came back the other way. What a great tackle. That was Andrew G. Actually launched himself at Shaw.
Attacking defence. Have a look at this. Not
Alan
allowing,
Can it was. What a hit.
allowing Paul Shaw to get around him.
There's the break, Nella. Close to the line. He can't unload the ball. Yes, he can. G turned it back in for Shaw. Got it away for G, and he scores against his old club.
What a sensational try this by the Gold Coast. Plenty of ball movement, bringing about a desperate defence. Brisbane didn't have the numbers. The Gold Coast had plunged up the middle of the ruck and then moved it wide. Lewis turns the ball back on the inside, cuts out 2 players, herring up the middle. He shrugs a couple of defenders. There's 2 ex-Broncos. Nella himself goes close. This was the important pass. Plenty of traffic, 4 Broncos there, still got it wide. Keith G, he's the ultimate try scorer. Back inside for Shaw. He dodges another couple of tackles. Back to Keith G. He hurdles 1 player. Lewis puts his hand in the air in salute.
There's the kick, the attempted conversion. He's got it. Wayne Bartram adds the others. And it's 8 points to 6 here at the Seagulls Stadium. Now Walters away for Langer. Langer got the pass, held it up, and now goes out to Kevin Walters. Intercept, is it? No. Knocked forward by Gonzalez. Nella dives on it. It should come back to the scrum.
Brisbane just a little bit loose in their play here. Kevin Walters realising the chance was on the outside, but a blind pass like that is fraught with danger. Brisbane were lucky Gonzalez wasn't scooting under the sticks.
Well, I don't know what Wally Lewis is shaking his head for at the referee. Correct decision in my book. Langer away for Walters. Lewis wrapped him up 10 metres inside the Brisbane end of the ground. Langer away for Hoff, stepping off the right foot. Walters will go to dummy half. Looking for runners on the blind side, and he finds Can. And Can is about 3 or 4 metres short of the quarter line. Now they've got the big open to the left. Plenty of pace to burn out wide. Langer turned it back infield for Madison. And he's 11 metres short of the try line. Brisbane on the attack. They work blindside. It goes to Dowling. He can't get his hands free. He's 10 metres short. Langer's calling for it on the left-hand side. It'll go through the hands of Langer. The long spiral past Walters. Into open space goes Renoff, but gee, it was good defence. Once again it was Rolls who came up to do the job. They work on the blind again with Langer. Langer floats it for Hoff. Here's the numbers. Morganson in for yet another try in the Winfield Cup. It's his 3rd in 2 weeks. And the Broncos go further in the lead here at the Seagulls Stadium. They lead by 12 points to 6.
How often do we see it where sides take the chance of running on the 6th tackle? Walters, Langer coming back on that other angle that Brisbane do so well. That long pass from Langer was a good one. Off the basketballer over the top. Morganson too much pace for Lewis. Brisbane running it on the 6th. Look at the angles. Walters right, Langer back left. The step then to get it out of the middle of the ruck. The pass over the top to get it away from Gonzalez. Brisbane with purpose have come up with a 4-pointer.
This is a tough one. Lewis with the head bowed. 12 minutes of play remain in the first half. Madison hooks it again. So that's let the Seagulls off a little. There's only 6 points in it with about 12 minutes of play remaining to the half-time break. So once again, the Seagulls about to restart play. 6 points the difference. Perfect conditions here tonight. The breeze favouring the Gold Coast somewhat in the first half. Now Hancock. Well, I'd be kicking away from Michael Hancock's swing if I was the Gold Coast. He brushes through a feeble attack, the tackle of Lewis. Got him on the wrong foot and came back inside him. Now Dowling. Dowling breaks the line. Walters looks for the support of his brother and finds it. He threw the dummy. Simpkins wrapped him up. Working blindside again. G got the pass away to Can. Can trying to slip the pass back on the inside. He can't do it. Again, Simpkins wraps him up ball and all. Now Langer. Defence comes up quickly. And Walters spotted it. Through the guppy goes. Hoff goes. Renoff. Superb play. Put it down to Kevin Walters. He spotted the defence coming up so quickly. And once again, the youth and the speed of this Broncos backline make the Seagulls pay.
Two things here. First, stretch the defence, and then the ability to go on with it. All started back from the kick-off when the initial bust was made by Michael Hancock to get Brisbane on the roll, and then getting in try-scoring positions. They've got the players to do the job. Walters, Hoff, I thought might go all the way. Moore did well to make the tackle. Rinoff only had to run the try in. Brisbane in scintillating form because they've got such potent attack. Kevin Walters this time holding the ball up in two hands initially, cuts in it behind the defensive line. Moore there to make a good cover defending tackle, but when it's 2-on-1 and you're behind enemy lines, it's all over. Rinoff runs it in.
52 points for the season, his 13th try. He's now scored 15 tries in 22 appearances in the top grade, and he's scored 13 in 15 games this year, Bill. That's not a bad strike rate.
No, he's had a great season, all right. Well, let's see what Terry Madison can do this time. That's better. Oh, it hits the right-hand side of the upright. Waved away. So 16-6. The Broncos lead here at Seagulls Stadium.
Well, I think a significant part of this game is the running of Paul Hoff. The fact that from fullback, when you've got a side split all over the park, the fullback is the extra man. He can do a lot of damage because he's not numbered off one-on-one. Admittedly, his opposite number tackled him, but the damage had already been done. He's the extra man. He's having a field day, and he's got all the skills to go with it.
So let's have a look at missed tackles. Well, that tells the story, doesn't it? 18 missed tackles to the Seagulls, 7 as opposed to 7 for the Broncos.
I think it was important there, Billy, that the Seagulls should have scored next. The fact that Brisbane has scored so close to half-time, that's a cruel blow to the Seagulls' chances now. Well,
this time when Brett Rolls kicks off, he kicks it down towards Alan Langer, who in turn gets it away to Paul Hoff. Under normal circumstances, a good deep kick into that corner is probably a good tactic. But
that's right, Bill, and you try and trap them down there, but Brisbane really simply getting their way out of territory without too much trouble.
Gilmeister taking it up again. Walters is there as dummy half. Which way will he go? Gets it out to Madison. He'll be wrapped up on this occasion. The tackle led off there by Wayne Bartram. So Walters to Langer. Away then to Hoff. He's having an absolute blinder tonight. He's up over the halfway mark. He's going to go all the way as he's away from Moore. He's going for the corner. He'll score the try. The big fella's having a boomer.
He sure is. The ability initially to go through the defensive line, the confidence to take on the fullback. Clinton Moore got him last time, but within a couple of minutes, Clinton Moore would be having nightmares, and it's a recurring one. This big Spider-Man down the middle of the ruck. Have a look at him. The step again. Pointlessly beats Wally Lewis as he slips over and then cuts away from Clinton Moore. Had heaps of room to work in and used most of it, but then out the other side. Paul Hoff. Great try, that one. Great solo effort. Let's have a look at it. The pass from Langer to Hoff. Again, the step to straighten things up. Lewis slips, and then Hoff to the fullback. Had some support in Willie Morganson, but really just ran away from him and the defence. And Paul Hoff rubs it in.
Wally Lewis over there on the touchline. Durko, what's the story?
Wally's come off, as you can see, Bill. I suppose I don't have to tell you that, do I? But the replacement in jersey number 22 is Michael Davis. Now, Davis is a specialist hooker, so I'd say he will go to the hooking role with Wayne Bartram dropping out to 5'8". Davis was sent off in the reserve grade game against the Broncos in the first round, suspended for 8 matches.
Here's the kick coming in from Madison. It'll be waved away. So the score remains the Broncos holding it on here at the moment by 20 points to 6.
Billy, I don't think we can say, looking right back to 1988, that Terry Madison would have started a game missing 5 from 5. I can't recall it. He's been such a prolific point scorer for this Brisbane side. He could have really nailed put the nails in the coffin of the Gold Coast tonight.
Yeah, most assuredly.
In his defence, Bill, 4 of those have been right from the corner. The other one, the first try from Hoff, wasn't far off the sideline. So he's had some tough kicks, but it is pretty well recognised that Madison is not a strong or long distance kicker. He's pretty deadly from close range, but he tends to lose it a bit when going for the extra distance.
And he has got the wind coming across either way there. So now the kicking to the other side this time, Brett Rolls. See what happens when he sends it out there.
Some great names in rugby league, Bill, warming the bench tonight. We just saw Chris Close and Wally Lewis. The Broncos started with Gene Miles. And of of course, Greg Dowling, players of that great 80s era that really started the dominance of Queensland in State of Origin football.
And we're seeing a lot of young fellas of the 90s. They're going to carry that tradition on in scintillating form tonight in the backs. They've scored the 5 tries, the Brisbane backs. Hoff, Kahn, Morganson and Renoff. Now, Gonzalez. Now, G. Davis goes into dummy half. Through the dummy, wrapped up by Walters. Possession absolutely dominated in the first half by the Brisbane Broncos, and that probably, along with the poor defence by the Gold Coast, reflecting in the scoreline here at the Seagulls Stadium. Now Shaw, away for Horseman. He's seen very little of the ball so far.
Saw a bit of the dirt then.
Very solidly put to the ground. Freestone away for Shaw. There's the ball put high in the air. I thought French was a touch offside.
Touch, I'd say a mile.
The referee's allowed it to go on. Kahn took it well. Now Morganson tries to work it out from his own goal line. What a brilliant performance and attack by Brisbane in this first half. And this big man, Paul Hoff, has had an absolute blinder. Langer has just been the effective link tonight, hasn't he, David?
Well, I think he's read it beautifully, Fordo, that he's just been feeding that back line, and it's a potent one. The Gold Coast been pretty busy in and around the rucks, but the gaps are really out wide, and Brisbane have exploited them.
Now they move it quickly again with Renoff. Oh, he evaded the defence brilliantly. The little kick ahead is not read by Moore. In fact, he kicks it into touch, so it will be a Broncos loose-headed feed. And they ran it on the final tackle there again, the Brisbane side. And they've come up with that loose-headed feed.
Well, I don't suppose you can blame them running on the 5th the way things are happening at the moment.
Poor old Ben Gonzalez is having a few problems out here. If it's not Renoff giving him the slip, it's Michael Hancock giving him the step.
Basketball stuff here. French came in from his wing and wrapped up Morganson. About 25 out for their own goal line, Brisbane, working on the blind side again. Now Kahn. It's his turn to have a bust-up field. Both the Brisbane wingers have been in outstanding form in recent weeks. Long ball, Langer. Will they spin it wide? They go over the top with Renoff. Got the pass around the corner. It looked good too. Hancock. Great strength, Hancock. That was terrific defence by Simpkins. Well, the pass was fine, I thought.
I think the touch judge has indicated to the referee here, Fordo, that the pass was forward. Now, the referee can gain assistance from his touch judge. Looked pretty flat to me, that one. Could have been allowed to go. But I looked immediately at the referee. He was not going to blow his whistle and did not immediately. But obviously then looked to his touch judge who gave him the indication.
Here's Brennan Moore through the gap, but he can't get past big Paul Hoff. Scored and unloaded. They are still moving the football, the Gold Coast, inside the attacking quarter. And we've got around about a minute and a half or 2 minutes of play remaining in this first half. Now, Nella unloading the pass. It's loose on the ground. And it's a Broncos football on the quarter line. So that should assure them that no more points will be scored against them in the first half. Now it's taken upfield by Gilmeister. 5 tries so far in the first 40 minutes. 2 to Hoff, 1 to Kahn, Morganson and Renoff. Terry Madison has failed with each attempt. Keith G scored against his old club for the Seagulls. And Bartram kicked a gem from the touchline. And at that stage, at 8 points to 6, they were right in it. But the error count, you can see, has compounded their problems in the first half. Now Langer attacking on the blind. It's been touched in fight by the Gold Coast. Now the tackle count will start again. Langer pulls out of 1. They'll let it go in the final few seconds of the first half. Very slow with the play the ball. Langer gets it to now Walters. Solid defence. I don't think they get time to let the ball attack again. Yes, they will. Madison will take the final tackle of the first half. It's been punctuated by 5 magnificent tries by this talented, young, quick and elusive backline by the Broncos. They have been in great touch. They lead at the halftime break by 14 points. Brisbane 20, the Gold Coast 6.
You have a greater purpose than any of us could have ever imagined. build something better, meaner, wilder.
How good is that?
Got a gut, yeah, shake it off, oh yeah. Got a gut, shake it up, yes you can, with the man shake. Got a gut, shake it off.
Full service history and extra 1-year warranty.
We're on!
Toyota certified, pre-owned in a class of its own. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
If bushfires keep raging, this family will soon take their last breath. If sea levels keep rising, this baby turtle will have no home to return to. If ice caps keep melting, this mother and cub will starve. And if we don't act now to stop the climate crisis, our children will suffer too. Will you give just $5 a month to Greenpeace? Your $5 a month means we can investigate the greatest threats to our planet, hold corporations and governments to account, protect habitats and save endangered species. Please call 1-800-549-522 or go online to give $5 a month. Our climate is in crisis. Please act now before more precious lives take their last breath. Authorised by Kate Smolsky for Greenpeace Australia Pacific Limited, Sydney.
Fun runs. How good? It's not about winning. It's about having fun. Until the end, when you realise it kind of is about winning. Han, great taste, low carb, how good?
Julio bought cheap car insurance with cheap accident repair. Don't risk bargain regret. Next time join the A-Team, hey Julio. Who offers great value cover you won't regret? Amy does.
Oh my God!
Oh good, you brought the dog.
Yeah. Have a name.
Harriet Dyer and Patrick Brammall in the feel-good Australian comedy, Colin from Accounts. Watch on demand.
And the Broncos captain Gene Miles has made his way out on the field here for the second half of this match and does take the place of Willie Morganson. Well, I suppose, David, that coach Wayne Bennett would be a little reluctant to break up that centre combination that's performed so well. But on the other hand, Gene Miles probably does need a run after those couple of weeks off.
Well, that's right, Bill. He'll obviously get his confidence back, providing he can comfortably get through these 40-odd minutes. He's been out for a while and he actually got hurt in the 16th round of the competition, and in that unusual number in recent years, Gene Miles wearing the number 4. Of course, he made a name for himself in the centres for Wynnum, Manly and for Queensland and Australia. See how he goes out there tonight.
Well, the other number 4 puts it downfield. That is Brett Rolls on the 4th tackle, taken back there by the big fellow in Paul Hall.
Have a look at the statistics in the first half, Bill, and they really do tell a tale. Brisbane have dominated possession to the tune of 88-47, and that has brought about an avalanche of tackling having to be done by the Seagulls. They've had to come up with almost twice as many tackles. Simpkins and G doing the lion's share, and Khan and brother Andrew G doing what was required for Brisbane.
That's a terrific statistic for a right winger, David.
Well, it is, and they've certainly worked pretty hard when you look at it. Let's have a look at missed tackles as well. Gold Coast have worked also pretty hard there. 21 missed tackles. They've certainly missed their share.
Tony Durkin down on the touchline.
Well, Bill, Malcolm Cliff, the Gold Coast coach, obviously very, very disappointed with his side's defence in that first half. He wants them to use the inside pass more when they've got the ball, and conversely to watch the inside pass in the Broncos. He believes that's where they're making most of their ground. He wants them to keep moving forward in defence and to stop that man from cutting back on the inside. And his appeal to them, he said, it's your last 40 minutes of the game, of the season at home this year. A big crowd here to watch you play for some pride. With me, the injured Broncos centre, Chris Johns. Johnsy, what did Wayne have to say?
Well, actually, Wayne was pretty upset with us lapsing off a bit there in that first half and trying to be a bit too fancy. And it was interesting to hear Malcolm Cliff said to start using the inside pass, because Wayne was saying we've really got to cover up that inside pass because that's what they're trying to attack us with in that first half. And, you know, we're going well. All we've got to do is stick to the basics, and those forwards just keep going the way they are, and our backs will cut loose like they are.
That ankle problem of yours, right for next week?
Yeah, it should be. It should be right for next week, yeah.
I suppose it's a matter now whereabouts you got to get it inside.
Yeah, that's the problem. I was just thinking about that. Where can I go?
I'm sure you'll be there somewhere, mate. Thanks for your time.
Thanks a lot, Durko.
I don't think you'd be too happy to see Gene Miles out in the centre zone. That's another one lurking about there. Here's Big Gino wrapped up now, looking to get it away, but can't.
I must admit, Bill, that I never really agreed with the movement of Miles into the forwards for the Broncos. I always felt that he could have still done what Mal Meninga has done in his later years in the centres.
Michael Hancock gets it back inside. They keep it going. Greg Dowling runs into Nella. Nella is going to hold him up together with a bit of help coming around from Ray Herring. So the final tackle. Will they run it this time? Alan Langer cuts back inside. Now he gets it away to Walters. Walters sends it back over his shoulder. Oh, they keep it going all right. Here's Gene Miles on the way, but Miles will be put down just inside the quarter line, and that'll be a handover.
One of the few occasions where it hasn't worked for Brisbane, as Brett Horsnell tries to rough up Miles, and really that's unnecessary in terms of the particular state of the game.
Gold Coast change. Tony Durkin has details.
Brett Rolls has left the field favouring a shoulder, Bill. Terry Cook's come on in jersey number 25. Terry Cook played in the forwards in reserve grade today. Normally a centre. That's where he'll play in first grade.
Okay, so that's Keith Miller taking it up. Paul Shaw running around with it now. Gets the pass outside to Clinton Moore, but the tackle of Gene Miles is there to take care of it. So the Broncos have a lead of 20 points to 6 here at Seagulls Stadium. They have the final tackle on its way, so they send it out to Paul Shaw, who shapes for the kick. Goes back the other way this time. Kicks it straight out there to Michael Hancock. He takes it safely. Decides to have a run. Bustles his way up to 5 metres short of halfway. So Miles to dummy half. Forces his way to halfway. So back on this time to Gilmeister in centre field, is it? No, it's MGG. Now to the big fella. Going up there, Greg Dowling. Walters to dummy half. To Gilmeister. Taken pretty high, but can't get the pass. Over the top comes Ray Herring. So to Alan Langer on the final tackle. He puts it up. Going back is Clinton Moore. He'll take it. Runs into his own player there in French, but sets sail and gets up to the quarter line before he's going to be wrapped up about 30 metres out from the Gold Coast line.
Yeah, very strong run too by Clinton Moore. Out Davis. Getting away from Freestone. 32 out from his own goal line. No change to the half-time score, where the Broncos led by 14. G unloaded the pass again for Bartram. He in turn got it away for Gonzalez. They keep it alive. It goes back through Davis. This is enterprising play by the Gold Coast. Nella got the pass for Cook. The ball's thrown back infield, but the referee has ruled it forward.
Cook just taken into touch, I think, as the pass was endeavoured to be thrown back on the inside. Hoff hit him with a fairly heavy tackle. And Cook there just couldn't hold his ground before offloading.
Loose head and feed Broncos. 32 out from their own goal line. Renoff running wide. Tries to straighten it. But Freestone, who it looks as though has moved out into the centres, well, it's a flare-up.
Came in for a second shot, Freestone, and that was unnecessary. Actually, it'll be a shame if this game does develop a bit of spite. OK, it is a local derby, but really that sort of thing, there's just no place for it in any game and no excuse for it either.
And it's a real family affair tonight, Tony Durkin. We've got the two Walters boys out there.
And the two G brothers, David, and another one about to come on, Mark G, warming up on the sideline for the Seagulls.
Well, Mark G played in that first game back in '88. In fact, kicked a field goal in that game and helped set up two of the
punch up, and it's Freestone again.
Well, here we go again with Freestone. It's back now with Moore. And play will come back. Trevor Gilmeister and Freestone.
Alan Langer leaving the field too.
Well, I made mention of it a little earlier. He's been looking for trouble for quite a while, and if Malcolm Cliff had been watching the situation, he should have brought him off the field. Alan Langer leaving the field. We'll get a report from Tony Durkin on that in a moment. But this doesn't surprise me.
The unfortunate part about it, Fordo, is Scott Freestone does not have to resort to these sort of tactics. As you called it a little while ago, he's a very talented player in his own right. Doesn't have to prove a thing about how tough he is, and yet all he has done is go around and still having a chat too. He really doesn't need to continue, and really doesn't know when to stop. There's a sad Alan Langer. And Tony Durkin, you're right down there beside him. Yeah. Looks like he's copped another one.
Yeah, another one on his nose. It's probably the most photographed nose in Australia this year, Alan Langer. And as you can see from that picture, he doesn't look a very happy boy, Alfie. No, Alan Can has come back on, by the way.
He's had it broken a couple of times. That looks like number 3. Alan Can has come back on for the Brisbane Broncos. There's been no change to the halftime score that read Brisbane 20, Gold Coast 6. Ray Herring, Rowan on his back, 32 out. I really thought Brisbane were going to go on with the job with the wind at their back in the second half.
Mistake here by Paul Shaw as they try a crisscross behind the ruck. Not a good pass that by Horsnell. Gave Shaw no chance to get a hand to it and retain it.
Bit of the Gold Coast of old there.
Yes, and Wally Lewis is going to have a lot of work to do in terms of tidying up their errors in attack. Although in the second half, Brisbane have been just as much at fault.
So they've got some possession at the moment, and they'll get a little bit of territory as well, because up inside the 5 are the Gold Coast side. So a penalty will take play over the halfway line and lay the platform for another attacking raid by the Brisbane Broncos. Well, Terry Madison has now gone to the halfback spot. Hasn't he played some positions this year? 5'8", lock, second row, hooker, and now halfback. Well, in fact, David, he's played halfback on a couple of occasions where he swapped around with Kevin Walderley this year.
Yeah, he's perhaps a player, Fordo, that suffers a little bit from the utility mould, and he's found it difficult to hold down a permanent spot on a regular basis.
And is unsigned for next year. Now Madison straightens up play.
Oh, Kerrod Walters has grasped at an ankle.
Yeah, he's come back very gingerly. Very flat, the Gold Coast, trying to work some attacking ball now. Shaw's opened them up the middle, looks for the support and can't find it. He gets it in G. G runs backwards, can't go any further. 5 short of halfway, the Gold Coast side. Nella, he's worked hard today for the Gold Coast side, Keith Nella. He's played in the front row in the last 13 games. Takes play over the halfway line. Well, everyone's gone to sleep here, players and spectators alike in the second half. We've had 20 minutes of play, no change to the score from half-time.
So here's Horsnell with the kick downfield. Going back there is Paul Hoff, he'll take it. Turns around, has Brett French. See you later, Frenchie, I'm on my way. He's coming up to the halfway mark. Horsnell comes at him, see you later. Now tries to get a pass back inside, didn't have to do it.
No, really, he lost his support there, and interesting to see Willie Kahn hold back in his backup position. He elected not to zoom up alongside Hoff. He was waiting for Hoff to take on the defence and come as a second line. It didn't come off.
She's getting it back to Bartram. He's put over about 5 metres inside Broncos territory. So at this stage, Broncos leading by 20-6, and down on the touchline, Tony Durkin gives us a lowdown on Alfie Langer.
Well, Bill, not only did Alan Langer cop a whack on that nose of his, but he also took a finger in the eye, and the medical team at the Broncos have decided not to bring him back. So Alfie will get first use of the showers at the Gold Coast, and normally, Bill, they're not all that hot.
Shaw puts it up. Coming back, they're going to end up with it with Cook. It's another 6 tackles. So here's a chance for the Gold Coast now. Can they do something with it from here? Nella. Tackle, lost it. Coming away with it this time for the Broncos is Alan Can. Well, a match that gave us plenty of good attack in the first half has certainly died away.
Well, they stopped the spear tackle here. I thought he was going to penalise. They actually lifted Dowling in there, then sensibly they stopped the tackle, David.
Yeah, it was good to see 3 players there had Dowling in a highly vulnerable position, but did not spear him, just held him off the ground. He lost the ball in the tackle and therefore loose head and feed to the Gold Coast.
So they worked that blind side over there. But the defence will hold on. So back over this time to G. G turns it away again. Getting on to Herring. So back over to Horsnell. He's knocked it on.
Somebody needs to really change the tune of this match.
So at this stage, Broncos lead by 20 points to 6. So in by Madison. Miles breaking off the back of the scrum. Put down just on the quarter line. Madison decides to have a run from dummy half.
Well, while there's just at the moment not much to talk about in terms of good football, I think the referee, who was an unknown, I think, to many coming into this match, only has had a handful of games. It hasn't been a hard game to referee, but Kelvin Jeffs has done it quite well. Seems to keep his cool and would appear to have quite a future.
So now it's the final tackle as Walters sends it back to Madison. A kick downfield. It'll be taken back there by Gonzalez. You haven't got any no-dos there, will you? Amazing, isn't it, how a game can change. The first half, some great tries. And here we are just about nodding off.
Brisbane have a habit of it, Bill, haven't they, where they don't really go on with the job. Admittedly, against North Sydney last week, they certainly did go on with the job. But tonight, 20-6, they've done all the hard work. It's a hard way to get 20 points. Here's the Gold Coast.
Cutting his way through over there that time.
Davis, the hooker.
Davis, and he's eventually put down. Moore keeps it going on. It goes to French. French is going for that line. Look at Michael Hancock come at him. Hancock pulled him down. I think French thought the referee was a player in support. Final tackle. All the doing in the world game. It's going to be a try here by Bartram.
Great work just from the Gold Coast. Brisbane have been asleep. The Gold Coast decided to wake them up, and they certainly have done. They've shocked everyone. Brisbane have been basically in a canter, if not an absolute walk. And at 20-6, you can't afford to do it. Bartram, a nice dummy. Brisbane expecting the last. This fellow's a good player, Bartram. He was aware that most of his options were covered, so when in doubt, go forward. Pretty handy when the line's only a couple of metres away. He's come up with the points. He's also going to attempt to convert. And at 20 points to 12, Brisbane may well be sparked back into action.
Fourth try for the year for young Wayne Bartram, as you say, David. A very talented young player, and that's given the cue to King Walter to come out and see if he can stir this Gold Coast side up in the last 15 minutes of the match.
So it'll be Bartram right in front. Should have little difficulty with this. One ripper from the touchline when they score their first try.
Well, the chance of going up, Bill. We want Wally.
Well, I think he's lining up. That's what the story is. There's a kick by Bartram. Through it goes. So the Broncos lead the Gold Coast Seagulls by 20 points to 12.
So, enter the King. Will it be his last match here at the Seagulls Stadium? Will he continue in 1992? That remains to be answered. He hasn't had the best of games here tonight. Scott Freestone is the player that has been replaced. And Wally Lewis back on the field for the Gold Coast side. Chris Close on the side of Freestone there. He struggled with that knee injury all year, Chris Close. And I suppose we've got to ask the same question as we just asked of Wally Lewis about Chris Close.
Yeah, well, it's a very hard decision for these players. Of course, in the old days, the money wasn't as big as what it is now. And it is becoming harder and harder for these players to retire when offered 150, 200,000 perhaps for some of these players. And perhaps Chris Close won't be quite in that category these days, but a lot of the players toward the end of the career are. It's very hard to finally decide to give it away.
Are you speaking from experience?
Actually, I think, Fordo, in general, that players, too many players in the past have had a tendency to give it away and then after a year or two come back. And I just think that if you can still play the game and the clubs are chasing you, get in there and play it while you're still enjoying it and retire when it's finally all over.
There's the kick from Lewis downfield. Willie Carden will retrieve it inside his own quarter line. He will try and link up with Paul Hoff. Now he goes on his own, and Horsnell comes up to wrap him up in the tackle. So Hoff is the dummy half. He attacks down the blind side, but only gets 1 or 2 metres. Horsnell went to the top, and I think Brett French injured himself in the tackle as well. He's had a dreaded year with injury, Brett French. His first start since he got injured against Western Suburbs back in round 16 in that Saturday night game at Campbelltown. Madison away from Miles, running wide of the ruck, unloaded a very ordinary pass, and that's given the ball back to the Gold Coast. They attack to the right. Bartram, you can't take your eyes off this lad. Middle of the centre of the field, midway between the half and the quarter. They're on the attack, the Seagulls. Davis darts out of dummy half, but he can't get too far. Nella for Shaw. Back for Lewis. For Herring. Herring tries to bust them out wide. Keith G. Working open side with Shaw. Through the dummy. Got the pass away for Gonzalez. He tries to come back infield. He can't link up with the support though, and takes the tackle 30 metres out. This is the final tackle. To Nella. Keith Nella, the prop forward, puts the kick into the in goal. It's beautifully weighted. Willie Kahn under pressure, but gets it out brilliantly. Keith Nella put the big chase in though.
Good players perform under pressure. Willie Kahn inside his own in-goal area did extremely well. Look over the shoulder to see where the defence was. Slow at that time, and then the acceleration. Gets away from a couple, gets it into the field of play. That was a significant moment in the game.
Now, Alan Cann wrapped up in a 3-man tackle just short of the quarter line. 20 points to 12. Brisbane lead the match, Walters. The Broncos have not scored in the second half. They raced in 5 outstanding tries in the first 40 minutes. And there's another error just outside their own quarter.
Should be a changeover too, because it was the 6th tackle upcoming. But the referee allowing a scrum to pack. That surprises me.
So there appears a set move on here with the Gold Coast. A line either side. Lewis goes blindside. They go open with Shaw. More linked up. It was well read by the Broncos defence. Now Shaw. He's in a losing little character, this one. Surprisingly, this year has not scored a try for the Gold Coast side. The player used so effectively as a reserve interchange player with Manly before he came north to the Gold Coast. They're inside the attacking quarter. About 11 minutes of play remaining. Lewis got the pass away for Horsnell. Back inside for Bartram. Bartram's pulled down 5 metres short. Nella. Lewis on the blind. Turned it back infield for Cook. Cook for the try line. So close. Final tackle. Lewis calls blindside again. He's lost the football. It's a Brisbane ball, and the pressure valve comes off.
Well, Willie Kahn was a mile offside there. Willie Kahn was actually about 3 metres in front of the try line. And whilst giving referee Kelvin Jeffs a rap, he certainly missed that one, and that really was the one. That positional play by Willie Kahn was the one that put pressure on Lewis.
Alan Cann driven back in the tackle over there. Matter of fact, he's only about 5 metres out from his own line. Away from dummy half, Kieran Walters. Put over 12 metres out from his own line this time. Plays it forward. Decides to go. Has his brother beside him. Taken by Nella. Dummy half, Walters on the final tackle. They swing it away to Madison. He runs back the other way. Now puts the boot underneath it. It'll go to Gonzalez. He takes it nicely. Has him. Pushes away Renoff. Starts to go again. But is eventually going to be wrapped up for about 40 metres out now. So 20 points to 12. The Broncos lead. Gold Coast scoring the only try in this second half.
About 9 minutes to go, Bill.
Well, there's still time, I guess. G with the ball there. From the play the ball, it's Cook, or rather Davis, turning it around. Now a kick forward by Herring. Regathers. Tackle count to start. So another chance for the Gold Coast. Lewis is in there as dummy half. He decides to go himself. Now gets a short one into Nella. Nella goes for the line. Can he get it down? It's a try. Yep, a try there for the Gold Coast. 20 points to 16.
And that Wally Lewis will take a lot of credit for it. He slid across the back of the ruck. Nella came straight into the gap. His bump took him across the line. Paul Hoff's down injured. Broncos a man down. Nella did it well. Hit that line, and in doing so, just enough momentum to get across. Lewis the skills, fading the ruck. Nella straight. The defence couldn't stop him. That's a good effort that by Keith Nella. And the Seagulls with 8 minutes to go, well and truly back in the match at 20.
Never a try scorer in the past, but a machine in 91. That's his third try in the space of about 7 weeks. Paul Hoff still down injured, but they cannot afford to go to sleep anymore, Brisbane, because the Gold Coast are back in this game, and we know how important this match is for Brisbane.
Well, Bartram about to kick the goal. He should be able to put it out from there, judging on what he's done before.
Paul Hoff in quite a bit of trouble here, Bill. A couple of trainers out to attend to him. He was involved in attempting to make a tackle when a little chip kick was put through and collided heavily. Bad luck for Hoff. He's had a terrific game tonight.
He's out of the match now. Julian O'Neill will be the player coming onto the field. There's the kick. Hits the right hand upright. And it's there. The left hand upright and is there. So it's 20 to 18 now. Chris Coast coming on for the Gold Coast side in place of Keith Nella. So there's Hoff leaving the field. What's the story there? Oh, O'Neill coming on for him. So we've got about, what, 6 minutes to go on the match?
About 6 or 7 minutes, Bill, and it's all pressure now for Brisbane. It has been said that they've played pretty well for the last 3 weeks because it's been without pressure. Well, they didn't have much pressure either as Paul Hoff leaves the field. But now this is pressure. They still lead by a marginal 2 points at 20 to 12. And goal kicking really has had so much to do with it. Brisbane have scored 5 tries to 3, but have yet to kick a goal.
Whereas Bartram's kicked 3 from 3 for the Gold Coast. So Tony Durkin, how many people here tonight?
Well, it's fallen a fair way short of the record, Bill. 12,620, and believe me, 99.9% of them are cheering wildly at the moment.
So let's see what the Gold Coast can do. This is G. Going to be tackled this time by Gilmeister. So 5 minutes remaining in the match. Broncos with a 2-point advantage.
And they know that they must hang on to that if they're going to keep their hopes alive in 91. And the crowd right behind Brisbane now. This is the final tackle. Lewis has come back onto the field, kicks for field position. It goes back for Hancock. The bounce doesn't favour him. They stay outside the 10. Now Hancock picks up momentum. Very important they secure possession here at the moment, Brisbane, and make this a very effective set of 6. Julian O'Neill. 5 minutes of play remain. And Brisbane lead by 2. Miles takes it upfield. Kerrod Walters looking for runners on the right. Dowling with a good ball. Takes play to the corner line. Kevin Walters calling for it right-hand side. Kerrod Walters goes from dummy half. Final tackle. It's a bad play the ball. Madison with the kick. Fielded by the Gold Coast just outside their own goal line. Oh, that's the error they didn't want. It's the one that Brisbane wanted to come up with. Chris Close, the offender.
Here he is, come out the middle of the ruck, hit heavily in a tackle. Gilmeister was the one who dislodged the ball.
Alan Can, he's only 5 metres short. They'll be looking for the big 4 points here, Brisbane, to quell this fight back by the Gold Coast. Miles runs wide. Poor play. He's got it back, and I think he's offside. It came from Miles to O'Neill and back to Miles. Correct decision again by Kelvin Jeffs.
Foolish pass, this one here by Gene Miles.
So time ticking away here for the Gold Coast. They have come back from 20 to 6 down.
They've come back from the dead, and at 20 points to 18. And this man calling the shot.
Now they unload it again. Herring tries to take it up. He's 15 metres short of the halfway line. Brisbane up very, very flat. Davis through the dummy. Gilmeister came in over the top.
Willie Kahn on the right wing, screaming instructions.
Now Shaw, turning it back infield. No, he's held onto it. He's opened them up, but pulled down by Walters. Moore is a dummy half, working open side. Lewis calls for it. Lewis is running. Oh, he's the pass left behind by Cook, knocked back by Freestone. And the referee says, knock forward. The crowd don't like it.
That man does, though, Wayne Bennett. That's a look of great relief. Brisbane loose head and feed.
Andrew G has gone back to lock forward Tony Durkin. He really is carrying that right shoulder.
Well, I think it's the arm, David. If you notice, he's got his right forearm very heavily strapped. He heard in a tackle a moment ago. He's called for attention. He looks like he's in a lot of strife.
Well, Brisbane now, they lead by 2. We've got around about 3 minutes of play remaining here at the Seagulls Stadium, maybe even less than that. They work it through Gilmeister. Solid defence by Ray Herring.
We've seen one draw today, and that was North Sydney and St George. Brisbane must get 2 points out of this. No good to them.
They've lost the football. The referee says knock on, knock back. I can't believe that decision.
I thought it was actually knocked out of Kieran Walters' hands and should have been 6 to go.
Now Pat Savage is on. G is off the field. Miles with a superb pass. Renoff is trying to get on the outside of that defence, but it closed very quickly. Gonzalez was out there. Brisbane moving through Madison. He puts it high in the air. Terrific pressure on Clinton Moore. He can't take it. And a penalty.
Looked to be taken out, no doubt. Madison put that ball up. Well, here's 10 minutes. Sensational decision this here by Kelvin Jeffs. Have a look at it. Clinton Moore. Dowling, well, half and half. The referee saw it as a total infringement. Lewis has taken a quick tap and run it. Here it is again on replay. Dowling undoubtedly taking him out of play. A tough decision to go 10 minutes. Brisbane will do it with 12 men with around about 2 minutes to go.
Now they move it the Gold Coast through G. And he's wrapped up by Alan Cann. A ball and all tackle by the second row forward. Davis got it away now. Simpkins pivoted and came back the other way. Got the pass, it's been knocked forward. And that's probably the error by the Gold Coast.
Freestone ultimately throws the ball away as he tried to come up the middle of the ruck. Brisbane surely now can play it out, although it'll be more than one lot of 6 tackles to finish this match.
Remembering that St George scored with 20 seconds remaining. Well, they've kicked it on the first tackle. I can't believe that one. Nobody knew about it either except Steve Renoff. He's beaten the ball. That is a magnificent try. No try.
He's called it no try. He's lost it over the try line.
I'd like to have a look at it. I think he got there.
Talk about shock tactics. This shocked everyone, but Renoff with genuine pace. No. Yes, lost it before the try line. Actually, could have easily have been a knock on. There's the hooter. Lewis tries to tap it quickly. He has not got time. Brisbane have won 20 points to 18 and stay alive.
Gene Miles obviously still querying that one with Kevin Walters. So what was that all about?
That was an incredible decision by Kevin Walters when you're in front by 2 points with only seconds remaining, and admittedly the clock does stop with 5 to go. But why, oh why would you kick the ball away?
Well, you don't do it if you've got 50 minutes to go, let alone 5.
Well, all the Brisbane tries scored in the first half. They led by 20 to 6. They got away with it with the skin of their teeth tonight. Have we seen the last of the playing career of Wally Lewis? I suppose we won't know that until at the end of this season. It's been a tremendous match, though, particularly in the last 20 minutes of the second half. We'll take a break. 20 points to 18. Brisbane stay alive in 91.